Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Talk with Hana. I'm so happy you're here with us today. Can I ask you something? Have you ever felt like you study English every single day, watching videos, reading grammar books, maybe even talking to yourself in the mirror, but your English still doesn't feel better? You still feel stuck.
Oh, I know that feeling so well. When I was learning, there were months, literally months, where I felt like I was running on a treadmill, moving my legs, spending all this energy, but going absolutely nowhere. It's so frustrating, right?
It really is, and today we're going to talk about exactly that. Why does this happen? Why do so many learners study hard but still don't see the results they want? We're going to break it down in simple, clear, practical English. And by the end of this episode, I think you're going to have some real answers.
We've got 7 big reasons for you today. 7 honest, maybe uncomfortable truths about why your English might be stuck. But don't worry, uncomfortable doesn't mean bad. We're going to talk about solutions too, so stay with us.
Before we dive in, make sure you hit subscribe on Talk with Hana so you never miss an episode. And here's your first question for today. Write it in the comments right now. How long have you been studying English? 1 year? 5 years? 10 years? Tell us.
We love reading your comments. It makes us feel like you're right here in the room with us. Okay, let's get into it.
All right, reason number 1, and this one is probably the most common mistake of all. You are consuming English, but you are not producing English. Let me explain what I mean.
Yes, please, because I see this so much.
Okay, so consuming English means listening to podcasts, watching TV shows, reading articles, studying vocabulary lists. You're taking English in. And that's all great, it's important, but producing English means speaking it, writing it, actually using it yourself. And that's where so many learners stop.
I had a student once, a really dedicated student, who watched 3 English TV shows every day for a whole year. 3 shows every single day. And then one day she came to class and I asked her, "So, how's your speaking going?" And she said, "Honestly, I haven't spoken English outside of class in months." She was only consuming.
And that's such a common story. Our brain is a little sneaky. When we watch English and understand it, our brain says, "Great job, you understand, you're doing well." But understanding is different from being able to use it. They're 2 different skills.
Think of it this way. Imagine you watch 1,000 cooking videos online. After all that watching, do you know how to cook? Well, maybe a little, but you won't really know how to cook until you actually go into the kitchen and try making a dish yourself. English is exactly the same.
So the solution here is simple to say, even if it's hard to do. You need to produce, you need to speak, you need to write. Even if it's just talking to yourself for 5 minutes a day, or writing 3 sentences in a journal before you go to bed.
Start small. Don't worry about perfection. Just produce something, anything. I used to stand in front of my bathroom mirror every morning and just describe what I was doing. I'm brushing my teeth. The toothpaste is mint flavored. I'm tired. It sounds silly, but it works.
And here's a question for the comments. Write this right now. In a typical week, how much time do you spend consuming English versus producing English? Is it 50-50 or is it 90% consuming and 10% producing? Let us know.
Because honestly, for most learners, it's closer to 90-10, and that's the first big reason English stops improving.
Okay, reason number 2, and this one might surprise you. Your English isn't improving because you're not being challenged enough. You might actually be too comfortable.
Too comfortable. That sounds like a strange problem to have, right? But it's real.
So here's what happens. When you first start learning English, everything is a challenge. New words, new grammar, new pronunciation. Your brain is working really hard and you improve quickly. But after a while, you get to a level where you understand most things. And then, without realizing it, you start staying in your comfort zone. You watch the same kind of shows, you read the same level of articles, you talk about the same topics, and your brain stops being challenged.
There's actually a term for this. Linguists call it fossilization. It's when your English gets frozen at a certain level because you're no longer pushing your edges. Your errors become habits. Your vocabulary stops growing. You get stuck.
So the fix here is to deliberately add challenge. If you always watch TV with subtitles, try turning them off for one episode. If you always read beginner articles, try a news website in English. If you always talk about simple topics, try explaining something complicated like your job or a news story in English.
I remember the moment I realized I was too comfortable. I was reading an English novel and I thought, I understand everything, and I felt so proud. And then my teacher said, if you understand everything, the book is too easy for you. That hit me.
Such good advice. You should be understanding about 80% and feeling a little lost with the other 20. That 20% is where the learning happens.
Challenge yourself every week. That's the lesson here. Growth lives just outside your comfort zone.
Reason number 3, and this one is very emotional for a lot of learners. You're afraid of making mistakes, and that fear is actually stopping you from improving.
Oh, this one is so personal for me. I used to be so scared to speak English with native speakers. My heart would race. I would go quiet. I would pretend I didn't understand just so I didn't have to speak. Because what if I made a mistake? What if they laughed?
And so many learners feel exactly the same way, especially learners who come from cultures where making mistakes in public feels shameful or embarrassing. But here's the truth, and we really want you to hear this. Mistakes are not the problem. Avoiding mistakes is the problem.
When you make a mistake, your brain registers it. It notices, and often, not always, but often, it self-corrects over time. But if you never speak because you're afraid of making mistakes, your brain never has the chance to learn. You're keeping it locked in a cage.
And think about this. When you hear someone speaking your language as a second language and they make a small grammar error, what do you think? Do you think, what a terrible person, how embarrassing? No, you probably think, oh, that's great, they're trying, I respect that.
Native English speakers are the same. The vast majority of native English speakers are delighted when someone tries to speak their language. A small grammar mistake doesn't make them judge you, it makes them respect you.
So the action step here is this. This week, I want you to deliberately make at least one mistake. Speak English to someone, a stranger, a friend, a coworker, and if you make a mistake, don't apologize, don't freeze up, just keep going. The sentence doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to happen.
And here's today's comment prompt. Write this right now. What's the biggest mistake you're afraid of making in English? Is it pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary? Be honest here. You're among friends at Simple English Talks.
We won't judge you, we promise. Now, mistake number 4.
Or I should say reason number 4. See, even I make mistakes.
Okay, reason 4. Your English input, the English you're learning, isn't connected to your real life, and this makes it very hard for your brain to actually hold on to it.
Can you explain what you mean by that?
Sure. So imagine you're studying vocabulary from a list. The word is procrastinate. You read the definition, to delay doing something. You write it in a notebook, you move on. A week later, do you remember it?
Probably not.
Exactly. But now imagine you learn that word in a conversation with a friend. Your friend says to you, "Oh, stop procrastinating, just do it." And you laugh and you say, "Oh, you're right, I always procrastinate when it comes to exercise." Now you'll remember that word forever.
Because it's connected to an emotion, to a real moment, to your real life. That's how memory works. We remember things that mean something to us.
So the advice here is when you study English, try to immediately connect it to something real. If you learn a new phrase, use it in a sentence about your own life. If you learn a new grammar pattern, write an example about something that actually happened to you today.
I love this. When I was learning, I started keeping a life journal in English. Every evening, I would write 5 sentences about my day, what I ate, who I talked to, how I felt. It forced me to use real vocabulary in real contexts. My vocabulary improved so much faster.
That's such a simple but powerful habit. 5 sentences a day, that's all. Can you do that? Write in the comments, will you try the 5-sentence English journal?
We'd love to know. And if you already do something like this, tell us about your method too.
All right. We're going to cover 2 more reasons together because they're connected. Reason 5, you're not consistent, and reason 6, you're confusing studying with real practice.
Oh, these 2 really go hand in hand. Let's talk about consistency first.
Consistency is everything in language learning. I can't say this strongly enough. 1 hour of English every day is so much more powerful than 7 hours on a Saturday and then nothing for the rest of the week.
And most learners know this, but they still don't do it. Why? Because we're busy, because we're tired, because we think I'll do double tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes, or it comes and goes and then we feel guilty and then we avoid studying even more. It becomes a cycle.
So the trick is to make consistency easy. Don't aim for 1 hour a day if that feels impossible. Aim for 15 minutes, just 15, but every single day, no exceptions. 15 minutes of English while you eat breakfast, 15 minutes on the bus, 15 minutes before bed. You can do 15 minutes.
And about the difference between studying and practicing, this is really important. Studying is reading a grammar rule in a book. Practicing is actually using that grammar rule in a real sentence. Studying is memorizing a vocabulary list. Practicing is using 5 of those words in a conversation or a piece of writing.
Many learners spend all their time studying and almost no time practicing. They feel productive because they filled pages in their notebook, but they haven't actually used any of it. It's like reading a book about swimming and never getting in the water.
Real practice means using the language, speaking, writing, having conversations, listening and responding. Even if the practice feels messy and imperfect, that's the point. Messy practice is still practice, and practice is what creates real improvement.
Here's your comment question. Tell us, how many minutes of English do you do each day? Be honest, no judgment here. And is most of that studying or practicing?
Your answers might surprise you. They surprised me when I first asked myself that question.
And now we've arrived at the 7th and final reason, and I think this might be the most important one of all. You're waiting to be ready before you speak.
Oh yes, this one.
You tell yourself, when my grammar is perfect, then I'll start speaking. Or when I have a bigger vocabulary, then I'll try having a conversation. Or when I feel confident, then I'll join that English conversation group.
But here's the uncomfortable truth. That moment never comes. Confidence doesn't come before you speak. Confidence comes from speaking. You have to do the scary thing first and the confidence follows, not the other way around.
Think about children learning their first language. Do they wait until their grammar is perfect before they open their mouths? No, they just talk. They say the wrong words, they use the wrong tense, and they just keep going. And eventually, through all that messy, imperfect, brave practice, they become fluent.
That's the model. Messy and brave, not perfect and silent. You don't need to be ready. You need to be willing.
So ask yourself this honestly. Are you waiting to be ready? And if yes, ready for what exactly? What is the perfect moment you're waiting for? Because I promise you, that moment is right now. This moment, not in 6 months, now.
Speak now, even badly, especially badly, because that's how good happens. Real conversation over perfection, always.
Okay, let's bring it all together because we covered so much today, and I am honestly so energized by this topic. We talked about real, honest reasons why English gets stuck, and every single one of them has a solution.
Let me quickly list the 7 reasons we covered today. 1. You're consuming but not producing. 2. You're too comfortable and not being challenged. 3. You're afraid of making mistakes. 4. Your input isn't connected to real life. 5. You're not consistent. 6. You're confusing studying with real practice. And 7. You're waiting to feel ready before you speak.
And if even one of those reasons felt personal to you, like, oh, that's me, then today was worth it, because awareness is always the first step to change. You can't fix what you can't see.
Here's something I want you to sit with. What's one thing from today that you can actually do differently starting tomorrow? Not a big change, not a complete overhaul of your study routine, just one small thing.
Maybe it's writing 5 sentences in English tonight. Maybe it's turning off the subtitles for 1 episode. Maybe it's sending a voice message to a friend in English. One small, brave thing. That's all we're asking.
And we would love, absolutely love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell us which of the 7 reasons hit closest to home for you. We read every single comment, and your messages genuinely make our day.
If this episode helped you, please share it with a friend who is also learning English. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Talk with Hana. We have so many more episodes coming that are going to help you sound more natural, more confident, and more fluent.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. Keep going, keep practicing, keep being brave. You are doing better than you think, and we believe in you completely. See you next time.